most of you guys wouldn't probably realize that I'm actually a pretty avid backpacker and I love to do wilderness backpacking. And a couple of weeks ago, I went on a backpacking trip. I gotta say, I think that this is my most proud moment. Like, I actually finally have a copy of the book that I wrote. It took me a year and a half to write this book. I'm very proud of it, and it's gonna be available October 7th. So I would just implore everyone to go buy a book. The more books you buy, the better it is for me, and then I can make another book for you guys. I'm already thinking about new books, but I'm just super proud of this, and I just hope that you guys really enjoy it. So go out, there is a Genius link below this video, and buy this book. I think you guys will really like it, and I worked really hard on it, and I love you guys, and you love me, and I love you, and you love me. It's just a love fest over here, so pick up my book. Today I wanted to do a little talk on camp cocktails because this has been a very big subject for a lot of people who like to have a little sip on the trail, just a little imbibe after their long day of hiking when they make camp. There has not been very many great ways to take cocktails with you camping because you just don't have access to ice unless you're car camping and you have like a mobile freezer, which, you know, they do exist, ones that plug into your, car power point. You could do that. That's a big pain in the ass. Trust me, I've tried it. Taking them into the wilderness when you are out for 5 days on a trail and you're trying to limit the amount of weight on your back is really difficult. Because you're trying to limit weight, you don't really want to be taking cans of cocktails with you, which is an option. So to my mind, there are 2 different options for camp cocktails. One of them is clarifying citrus cocktails. This is a really good way of bringing citrus cocktails with you, is to clarify them with milk or coconut milk first. Coconut cream, really. Coconut cream works a lot better than coconut milk. Clarifying them renders them completely shelf stable. And if you are doing a non-desert hike and you have a source of water like around you, which a lot of the major hikes do, you can just put it into the running water a little bit, tie it with some guy line to something, put it in running water, and you can chill your cocktail pretty effectively that way, especially if you're in the mountains. But if you're in the mountains, I would just also suggest, and this video is not taking the format that I kind of wanted to do, but just a very big, important piece of advice here. If you're hiking in the mountains and you are gaining altitude, you want to make sure that you acclimate to the altitude before you drink any alcohol. You don't want to drive to the base of the mountain, which is already going to be a few thousand feet above sea level, and then hike another 2,000 or 3,000 feet in elevation gain, and then drink cocktails, because if you do, you are going to be massively hungover. It's just going to amplify the altitude sickness if you're kind of predisposed to altitude sickness, and then also being hungover makes you a little more susceptible to altitude sickness, and so if you want to have a hellish day, you'll do that. What you really want to do is you want to make sure that you get to the base of the mountain. I like to acclimate for 1 day. It adds a day to my trip, but I like to acclimate for 1 day. Then you do the elevation gain. By that time, you're gonna be really acclimated to the height that you're at, and then you'll be able to drink. Just also remember that alcohol hits you harder and faster when you are at higher altitudes. So you want to make sure not to overdo it because you can get very drunk very fast. So those are just 2 pieces of advice for just how to imbibe. I'm not going to make a clarified cocktail today because you guys have already seen me make a clarified cocktail. I'm just going to go into our second option, then we'll make a cocktail. So the other option is stirred drinks. You can make an old fashioned, Manhattan. Manhattans have sweet vermouth, and so you should quote unquote refrigerate it, but over a couple of days it'll be fine. These are drinks that you can put in a bottle that aren't going to degenerate quickly, or you put it in a flask or whatever, and then you can have the cocktail on the trail. And one of the best ways to add complexity without adding a lot of touches to your cocktail is to infuse it. So today we're going to be making a cocktail called a Bananavardier. This is a Boulevardier that I have added banana to, if you didn't recognize that from the title of the cocktail. There are existent versions of this drink. A lot of people love to put bananas in Boulevardier, or the banana flavor in Boulevardiers. But today I did my own version of it. And what I did actually was, Marius, if you can go to the back there, and there's a little thing of banana. Can you grab that? So, as some of you may know, Marius and I have been futzing around with a freeze dryer, and we've been making for some freeze dried garnishes. But one of the things that I've been really testing recently is freeze drying fruit, which not only makes it pretty much shelf stable as long as you keep air away from it, but also it's a really, really good way to infuse into anything. The reason why it's better to infuse when you freeze dry is because The freeze drying process takes away 98 to 99% of the moisture that's in there. So you really amplify the flavor of the thing that you're freeze drying. If it's something that has a more delicate flavor like bananas, which can have more delicate flavors, the freeze drying process really compounds those flavors. And so when you're adding in your booze, you're actually rehydrating with the booze and it's pulling all that flavor out. I think I actually did a really kind of massive infusion here. I only did about 150 mils of Buffalo Trace bourbon, and then I did about 30 grams of freeze-dried bananas, but 30 grams is kind of a lot. I was just a little bit afraid that it wouldn't take the banana flavor and that the bourbon would overrun it, but I think it was actually a little bit much because when you freeze dry, getting rid of the moisture also gets rid of a lot of the weight. So 30 grams of bananas is kind of a lot.
It says 25.
Oh, sorry, 25. Did I say 20? I said 30. It's actually 25. You're right. I wrote it on the label. But anyway, in any case, 25 grams. It's kind of a lot of freeze-dried banana. If it were fresh banana, would be a different story. This is great for like camping because you have like, a complex cocktail that you can keep, good. You can carry a little bit of it. If you're on a 2 or 3 day trip, you have basically one pour a night. You can have a little cocktail while you make your camp food. But it also we can naturally segue here into just a talk on infusions. Because, one thing that I sort of ignored in my career because most of my bartending career was really focused in classic cocktails. And then when I was like working at places that did like what I like to call farmers market cocktails, when I was working with Gabby Mawarchik, we really focused on like fresh ingredients. I've ignored just like infusions for a long time. Although I guess, Gabby did like quite a few infusions, but I just, really focused on classics. But infusions are a really good way to take cocktail templates and add complexity without adding too many touches to your cocktail. And while they do take a little bit of prep, you can then have something that's pretty complex in a bottle that you then make a sour with or make an old fashioned with, or you're making like compound syrups or infusing booze. And then you have something that's pretty complex and that only takes 3 touches or something like when you're behind the bar. When I'm entertaining at home, I do like to make drinks for people, but I also like to enjoy my party and I don't want to be stuck behind a bar working while everyone's enjoying my party. So it's nice to have stuff that's pre-batched, and infusing is just a really good way of adding complexity. So Marius and I have been playing with some infusions lately, like for instance, taking freeze-dried and dehydrated stuff, putting it into a mix, and then using that to infuse brandy with like cinnamon, freeze-dried pear, freeze-dried apple, and maybe a few dehydrated limes or dehydrated lemons or something, and maybe a little star anise. And then you infuse all that into brandy and you make like a really nice kind of fall style brandy. These are just like really easy, cheap ways to do it. And we've been playing with the dehydrated and freeze-dried option because when you have those mixes that have been treated in that way, they are then shelf stable, so you don't have to use them right away, right? Right, so here we go. Let's make the cocktail now. It's enough talking. But also, you know what else is like how good? It's like bourbon hydrated bananas are like. It's pretty bomb. It's good. Well, our banana infused bourbon is done filtering. Should we give it the old smell? I mean, it's like, there's no way that the banana was overpowered by the bourbon. It's very, very banana-y. Give it a little taste. Oh yeah, nice. Okay, so this is a stirred cocktail. We're gonna stir it. We're gonna make it into a glass. And I actually made a little banana Oleo-Saccharum. So what you do is you take your banana peels, put it in here, and you coat them in sugar. I had about 5 banana peels and half a cup of sugar, and you mix it and make sure that it's fully coated in sugar, and the sugar will pull all the banana goodness out of the peel. And so you basically have this really amazing banana bread style Oleo-Saccharum. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do half a teaspoon of our banana Oleo into our glass, because we're gonna like amplify that banana flavor that's in the bourbon. I'm gonna do a full teaspoon. Sorry, I'm thinking on my feet here. I do like funky. I'm gonna do a full teaspoon. And then we're gonna do 3/4 of an ounce of Aperol. 3/4 of an ounce of Aperol. I'm using Aperol because for the very fact that it's less bitter than Campari. A lot of people when I use Aperol are talking all sorts of smack. It's so sweet. Campari has more sugar than Aperol, okay? Aperol is actually less sweet than Campari. The thing is that Campari is more bitter, so you're hiding some of that sugar in the bitterness, whereas this is less bitter, and so you read the sugar a little bit more. But to have like that aperitivo bitterness that balances with sugar a little bit better and doesn't overpower flavors, Aperol is your best friend for that. So then we're gonna do 1 ounce of Carpano Antica, but if you wanna use the Cocchi di Torino or even Dolan, that would be good. Okay, and then we're gonna do, it's like a fat ounce of banana bourbon. And actually, you know, I just realized I think my sweet vermouth was like just a hair under, so I really want to get these exacting measurements. So it's like a hair under 1 ounce, so we'll make it exactly 1 ounce. Not that you guys would have known that, but I'm a stickler for detail when I taste these things. I want to make sure that we're tasting the actual product so that when you guys make this at home, you're like, he was right on the tasting notes. We're just gonna crack the first Cuban, maybe 2. Okay. The first Cuban, maybe 2 is what I said, but first cube or 2. Alternatively, if you wanted to use a banana liqueur, you could do that as well, but I'm very excited for my banana infusion, and I think that it's gonna be more pure banana flavor than a banana liqueur would be that is, you know, got other elements in it. I'm gonna give it a stir, and we're gonna pour. I'm gonna pour it off the ice because I don't want to crack the ice. I want to be very careful not to crack the ice. I got on there anyway. It's gonna make this cocktail sing as a little lemon twist. Question is, Mary, so you think we should do lemon twist and discard, or should we keep it?
I don't know. It's nice with a little color. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think you're right. If I gave you the choice, it's your choice. You said keep it. We're gonna keep it, but we are gonna quaff our peel a little bit. Cheers, let's drink this. I mean, I cannot overstate how good banana flavored bourbon and sweet vermouth go together. That lemon pop makes it so bright right as you drink it, and then you have that bittering agent there, and then you have a lot of banana flavor. The banana flavor, though, is definitely coming from that banana Oleo-Saccharum along with the banana bourbon. It is fantastic. It is great. I love this drink. So there it is, my Banana Boulevardier or Bananavardier. Today's Educated Barfly video is sponsored by The Educated Barfly. I don't know if you guys know this, some of you do, some of you don't, but we've got lots of really good products in our store, and we are constantly adding to those products. One of our very new additions, freeze-dried garnishes. So whereas a dehydrated garnish gives you sort of like a more tea-like caramelized scent, the freeze-dried version of that is a little bit brighter, and then all the sugars when you freeze dry come to the surface, and so you get a very bright, fresh orange flavor. These guys have been a real big hit since we put them in the store. We're getting lots of orders for them. We also have a little bit of glassware. We have our now kind of iconic Nick and Nora style glass that we did in a regular and honeycomb pattern. This is a 6-ounce glass, kind of Nick and Nora style. And we have a brand new, more coupe style glass. It's 7 ounces. We also have the honeycomb pattern in this as well. So if you're a fan of the channel and you want to help us out, this is a very good way to help the channel and then also get something out of it. A lot of this is the glassware that you see in our videos, and so you'll be able to recreate the same cocktails that we make in the studio at home with the best possible recipes, the best possible instructions, and now the best possible glassware and garnishes. Is quaffing even the right word? What does quaff actually mean?
I think it's like, that. No, you can use it for hair when it's like all.
Well, quaffing
like
I think is drink. Is quaffing drinking?
No, it's like you're perfectly manicured or like tidy and
drink, especially an alcoholic drink, heartily. It is. It's drinking.
No,
I was right. Quaff.
Quaff is also
quaff. Drink. An alcoholic drink.
No, it's also
heartily. He quaffed pint after pint of good Berkshire ale.
But it's also,
which kind of sounds like me. I would love to quaff pint after pint of good Berkshire ale. Where's Berkshire? New Hampshire? England? It's England.
Quaff is also style or arrange someone's hair in an elaborate way.
Oh, quaff. Oh, so that's how I was using it right, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean,
I was right about that. It's to drink, and then I was also right about quaffing the peel.
Yeah.
Look at that. The more you know. Should we be like Pee Wee Herman? Should we do like Pee Wee's Playhouse in memory of Paul Reubens, where we have like a word of the day, and every single time someone says it, we go, ah!
Today's secret word is